It's all about improving effectiveness of activity. So this is a nuanced knowledge area as well, because it's about engagement. It's not about communicating with people. It's about like how much participation do you want them to have? How active do you want them to be involved in the project? That's what you're really trying to do here. And you do that with communication strategies, with everything else, but it's really about engagement. So remember that word engagement. That's all we're talking about here. When you see this on the exam, you want to pick answers that pertain to engaging your stakeholders. All right. Don't worry about communicating with them, because there's another knowledge area for that. It's all about engagement. What's their involvement level? And so we'll look at these tools and techniques that get us to some generic outputs, but ultimately the goal is you have current level, desired level of the stakeholders' involvement. How do I move you from current to desired? That's what we're doing here. So we'll take, as an output here, we're going to get issues, right? Project document update, and we see that there. The issue log becomes an output. That's a key output here. And this is all about the stakeholders' issue. So if earlier we talked about a change log and an issue log, if you have things that are going wrong on your project, where will we document that? And most of us are like, oh yeah, we'd put it in the issue log. And if you remember, I told you, no, that's going to go in your change log. And either you will approve or deny a request for change. If there are issues between people on the project, that goes into the issue log. And this could be, we disagree about the design. We disagree about the process of implementation, right? We disagree about how we're going to test. Or it could just be, I no longer like this person, right? That might happen, right? I don't want to work with this person, something like that, right? That's an issue that we've got to document, and then we've got to go and go through the stakeholder engagement strategies and figure out, how do we solve this? And that's where, if you remember, we have the conflict resolution techniques, where we force or direct, smooth or accommodate, get folks to compromise and reconcile. Hopefully the win-win, get them to collaborate and problem solve. And that's what we're really trying to do here. So we'll take these documents into account. Any risks, stakeholders are the biggest risk to your projects, right? If you think about your projects in the past, the things that have happened are usually somebody acted irrationally in a moment of, passion. It's not the stuff that we can foresee technically. It's usually somebody did something crazy, right? So we take the stakeholder register into account, as well as the risk register, lessons learned, issue logs, and then we go and we'll analyze that data. Right, so the stakeholder engagement assessment matrix, where are they? Are they unaware of this? Are they resistant, neutral, supportive, or leading? And then we want to get them into some other category. You may need to take preventative or corrective actions to keep stakeholders, from having another one, right? Here's another piece. Sometimes you get stakeholder A, stakeholder B. Stakeholder A and B act one way. And when stakeholder A and B are together, they act a completely different way. So sometimes I need stakeholder A and B to be together all the time, or I need stakeholder A and B to be apart all the time, right? So even this comes up like that. That's the idea that this process is trying to solve here. All right, so we'll take data as an input, and that data could just be the type of engagement, meaning, are they participating in change control meetings or performance reviews or design reviews, etc. All right, we'll take that type of data into account, along with any issues, risk, etc. And then we'll use our interpersonal skills. All right, this is the active listening, this is the understanding, this is the probing, the asking questions that you likely already know the answer to, but you want to see what somebody's going to say. This is what you're doing. All right, you're using your communication skills to elicit feedback from people and getting them to, to get on board. All right, you're leading them down the path. You could also use that stakeholder engagement assessment matrix we saw, right? Represent the data. Where are they? Move them from a resistant stakeholder to, a championing stakeholder. And then we can do root cause analysis, stakeholder analysis, alternative analysis. So since we're talking about stakeholders, this is the time for me to remind you about the stakeholder grid. We chart power over interest. Those folks who have a lot of power and a lot of interest in that upper right-hand box, we got to manage them closely. Those folks who have a lot of power, but they're not so much interested on an upper left-hand box, we keep them satisfied. Those folks who don't have power, but they have a ton of interest in that bottom left box, we keep them informed. And those folks who don't have much power, don't have much interest, bottom left box in this case, bottom left box, then those folks we'll just monitor, minimal effort. And remember, you can be for or against. So now we have that stakeholder cube. So that's the stakeholder analysis that we'll look at. And then with that, based on the level of power, interest, for or against, then we'll go back and we'll also determine, okay, are you unaware, resistant, neutral, supportive, or leading? And then I'll make some sort of plan or adjustment to my plan to get you to some category I want you to be in.